sexuality educator. It is hot and I am sweating. Speaking of hot and sweaty, let's talk a little bit today about arousal, specifically sexual arousal. So what is arousal? Well, it's sexual responsiveness. It's the tingly feelings. It's your hot and bothered. Depending on your anatomy, sexual arousal may include physical events in the body such as dilated pupils, increased heart rate, a flush or redness to the skin, increased blood flow to the genitals, vaginal lubrication if you are someone who has a vagina, and if you are someone who has a penis, an erection. But did you know that these physical changes can happen in our bodies when we are not sexually aroused? And the term for that is arousal non-concordance. Now, you don't actually have to remember that name, but it is something that I want you to know about. And if you have kids, particularly kids who are going through puberty, then it's something that would be helpful to share with them as well. Why do I want you to know about it? Well, because arousal non-concordance is actually something that happens in virtually everybody's body. But a lot of people don't know about it, and a lot of people don't realize this is normal. And when we experience it, it can be stressful or confusing, especially for youth. A common assumption is that if our genitals start doing a thing, getting hard or getting wet, then that must mean that we're sexually aroused. And that if we're sexually aroused, that must mean that we want to have sex. Sometimes that's the way our bodies work, but sometimes it isn't. Researcher Emily Nagoski writes all about this in her book, Come As You Are, which is fantastic, and you should read it. Buy it, and then read it. Or get it from the library and read it. Either way, read it. Read it now. Yes. In the book, Emily Nagoski talks about something called sexual relevance and explains that our bodies can find something sexually relevant without us finding it sexually arousing or sexually desirable or appealing. Here's an example. Let's say your teen is sitting in class and they get called up to the front to make a presentation. As they stand up and start walking, their jeans, the fabric from their jeans starts rubbing against their penis. The brain goes, something is touching my penis. That's sexually relevant. I'm gonna make an erection. Your teen is standing up at the front of the classroom. They don't find that sexually arousing, but still, it's boner city. Or your teen could be out for a bike ride, and sitting on the bicycle seat triggers the brain to go, there's pressure on my vulva. That's sexually relevant. I'm gonna create a little vaginal lubrication. That wetness means that the pressure is sexually relevant, but again, does not mean that that person wants to have sex. So, bike on. It is also important to remember that we can feel sexually aroused or turned on and still not want to actually have sex. One situation that I've been in more than once is when I'm watching a movie with family members or platonic friends and there's a really steamy sex scene. It's kind of awkward because on one level, watching a hot sex scene does tend to get me sexually aroused, but because I'm around people that I don't want to have sex with and I don't have a sexual relationship with, I don't really want to have sex with anyone in the room, and I certainly don't want to start touching myself, so mostly I'm just sitting there marinating in embarrassment and awkwardness, trying not to really look at the movie and trying not to look at anyone else in the room. And even when we are in a sexual relationship with someone, that doesn't always mean that when we're sexually aroused, we want to have sex with them. There are always going to be times when we're tired, or we're sick, or we're hungry, or we're busy, or we just don't feel like it at that time. One of the most frequently asked questions I get from youth and from adults is, how do I know when someone wants to have sex with me? What physical signs do I look for? How do I know if somebody's aroused? Well, the answer to that is you can't tell just by physical signs that someone is aroused. And even if someone is aroused, you can't necessarily tell that they want to have sex with you in that moment. So the way you figure that out is by checking in, by asking, by saying, you know what, I would love to have sex. What do you think? And it's also important for folks to know, again, especially teens, adolescents, people going through puberty, that, sometimes things are going to start popping in your pants even though you're not having any sexy feels at all. And that is totally normal. All right, so that is arousal non-concordance. Now, if you need help talking to your teens about any sort of sexual issues, then head on over to my website, NadineThornhill.com, where you can find out more about my parent consulting. I can give you lots of resources, advice, and guidance around communicating with your child or teen. And if you like this video, then please give it a thumbs up. If you have any thoughts you'd like to share, then let me know down in the comments. As always, I really enjoy hearing from you, or I guess reading your comments and chatting with you. Give this video a thumbs up. Share it if you think it will be helpful for someone else. And of course, hit that little red subscribe button so you don't miss any videos. That's all. Have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. Sex education is so annoying. Just playing. But you can click the link to check out my last video where I share 5 of my sex educator pet peeves. And be sure to follow me on social media and click the subscribe button to, well, subscribe.